there's a lot of Hertz.
Good evening, and welcome to Jam, the music show for the Central Valley and every place that we can reach. If you're on cable, you're probably picking us up. If you're not on cable, you're probably at a concert someplace. Now, this week we got some real good footage to show you. Went out and got a couple interviews with some really nice groups. Got a little concert footage. Went around, saw who we could see. Got calendars for you. Who's going to be where? Who's down at the Brickworks this weekend? Who's going to be there next weekend? We got it all. You want something to see? Watch us. We'll tell you where to go. Now, I know that I told you last week they were going to have something by Eric Martin. But if you remember, I said we'd get anything we could get. We couldn't get anything. We were at another concert that night. So instead of Eric Martin, we've got Night Ranger, a couple good interviews with Jack Blades and Brad Gillis. Also went and saw the Motels. They were at the same show. We couldn't help it. Also, Ann went up to Citrus Heights Record Factory. Saw Ronnie James Dio just before his show up there. I hear it was really good, but I wasn't there. I was out playing music someplace else. So, tonight we're going to keep on rolling. We've got Chris with the news, we've got Duncan with the Junction Box, we've got Ann with whatever she's doing tonight. And this is what's up first.
From Stockton, California, and Jam, Radio Flyer going on stage. We have Radio Flyer, one of the hottest bands you're ever going to see. They're out of Sacramento, California. I caught them about a year ago, but these guys have changed a lot, and their change is great. I want to know what's going on with your originals and what's happening recording-wise, what's coming out soon.
We've been recording for our last 3 months, and we're going to go down to this Bay Area and do some more. We're not sure exactly which studio we're going to use yet, but...
What's the name of your first tunes coming out? Anything we can look forward to?
Coming out...
What do you want to record first?
Well, we're going to do a couple tunes here in a minute that we're going to be recording the next session. It's a secret and 1,000 words.
All right, and how about the members of your band? Can you tell me some names here?
This is Jimmy Grego, my drummer, killer. And my name's Scott McKinstry, and this is Vince. Hey, you're getting interviewed. Get over here. This is Vince Bilber, the bass player, and Hank Spiess over here, and I want you to look at Hank's shoes.
The shoes, friends. We've got to get a shot of these shoes. These are rock and roll. That's why he's in the band. It's not just that he's a keyboard player, you understand? Yes? He's really a drummer. I understand.
And Radio Flyer just may be drumming themselves to the top, especially if they play at this new club.
Can you guess what strange little town in Northern California is about to open one of the hottest rock clubs in the area? You don't know? I don't know. If you recognize this building, you might have a good guess. We'll be back later in the show to tell you more.
But right now, let's go to Gary Bell with some record reviews.
Next we have Elvis Costello and his new album, Punch the Clock. It's been a long time since Elvis has come out with an album this good. You know, since his first 2 albums, My Aim is True and this year's Model, Elvis has really been failing. Something wrong with the writing ability, I guess. But if you're going to buy an album, this is truly an album you should get this year because it's one of the best pop albums you're going to hear this year. Next we have the Motels, who played in Manteca a couple weeks back. From the sounds of things, Capitol Records' big gamble last year has turned into big bucks this year. The gamble was putting the Motels back into the studio and having them re-record their album that was then called Apocalypso. But when it was brought out again, it was called All for One and gave 4 tunes that were great hits. The success that album was given apparently has carried over to Little Robbers because the hit parade has just started with Suddenly Last Summer and Into the Heartland, a song that Martha Davis co-wrote with Bernie Taupin of Elton John fame. Those are just 2 of 8 of the tunes Martha has written that have great appeal to radio. Martha Davis is just great. To listen to this album doesn't do it justice. Only when you've seen Martha and the Motels live do you really appreciate the music they're trying to put across. A bit of sad news for you people. For the last 10 years, the members of KISS, as we all know, have basically kept their identities secret behind stage makeup. Now, after 12 albums, the band has chosen to shed the mystique and the makeup all in one shot for their new album, Lick It Up, on Mercury Records. Their 13th and quite possibly last record, as KISS anyway, is basically from the same vein as Creatures of the Night, their last year's redeeming album that proved KISS could actually rock and roll once again. For instance, their latest single and video clip, Lick It Up, a rocker about good eating habits, right, could easily break the traditional AM/FM barrier very much the same way that I Was Made for Loving You did way back in 1980. You can remember that when it was kind of a disco pop tune. This is not only KISS's first album without makeup, it also marks the debut of new lead guitarist Vinnie Vincent, who replaced the original guitarist Ace Frehley last year. Incidentally, Vincent, who was a friend of a friend of a friend of ours who we know, took over Frehley's live duties last year also. Lick It Up is definitely a KISS album,
And when it comes to rock and roll, there is no slouching. I'm just sorry to see the legacy come to an end. Lead guitarist, Vinnie Vincent. Drummer, Eric Carr. Guitarist, vocalist, Paul Stanley. Bass guitarist, Gene Simmons. And now, Kiss's first video without makeup, Lick It Up.
Hey, this is Chris Watson with some Jammin' news. Last show, we reported that Asia had canceled their last 35 American dates to do a live show on MTV from Tokyo, Japan. Well, it's now brought to our attention that John Wetton, bassist, lead vocalist for the band, has split to venture out as a solo artist. Asia will still do their huge Tokyo show, though, because they picked up Greg Lake to fill in the vacancy. I wonder if they'll get to that Tokyo show before they call Emerson up. Cherokee Lanes in Galt, that town's bowling lanes, is being renovated into a new nightclub. The club, according to its owner, will bring in acts from around the valley and all forms of music.
Jam in the strangest place you've ever been in. This is Galt, California. Duncan doesn't believe it either, but yes, this is the number 6 lane of the Galt bowling alley that I'm standing right here. What? You say you don't see any pins? It's not a bowling alley anymore. This is the Valley's newest club. Musicians, please pay attention. People who love music, please pay attention. Murals to go behind the stage. The biggest dance floor in the Valley that I can see. Sound booth, house PA, house lights. This is Cherokee, and it is going to be something great. Duncan is just freaking out.
Yes, that's true. I am.
You can tell how much he's freaking out. No, come over here and take a look at this. They've got murals to go behind 5 different murals that will go back and forth behind the stage for different type of sets. A very large stage. We're going to have a good time playing here. They're going for name entertainment. They're going for the local bands. They're going to have the best sound in the area that we'll be able to find. And you guys who are out there in your bands ought to get something going. They should start booking about 2 days after you see this on film. They're going to open later in the month. They will have a grand opening in November. And it's going to be a blowout like nobody's going to believe. The size of this place is great. They won't tell me the estimate capacity because they're not sure what the fire marshal is going to say. But if it won't hold 1,000 people, my name is Patrick O'Shaughnessy. What do you have to say?
I think this is a great looking place. I can't wait to get the band in here myself and get playing. And I think a lot of the bands, once they see this place, will really want to get their bands down here and get some bookings because this is going to be a dynamite club here.
It is. They've got going for warm colors on the walls instead of the darks. The backdrops are being painted by a man named Carl who has a statewide reputation for just fantastic painting, and he is doing quite the job. I think we're going to do an interview on him next time, so maybe watch out for that, you artist-type people. Full bar, restaurant in the back, bar on the other side of the place. Unfortunately for you kids or you mature young adults, 21 and over, but in Galt. You'll have to drive, what, 10 minutes from Lodi, 20 minutes from Stockton? How can you lose? And we're going to bring you a very much in-depth report when they get their sound system in, when they get their lights in, and when there's some carpet on the stage. Pat and Duncan, for the Jam, jamming in Galt.
Okay, thanks a lot, Duncan and Pat. Well-known country artist Randy Sparks, best known for his work with the New Christy Minstrels, is currently in his own studio, laying some tracks to a number of songs. That may be at least mediocre news to you, but what might be more interesting is that the drums Randy is using is a LinnDrum, a digital drum machine. Punk funker Prince is currently holding open casting at the Miskoff Rehearsal Studio in New York for his new film, Purple Rain. And Barbra Streisand is releasing the soundtrack to her new film project before the film comes out. The single from the LP, which went into record stores across the U.S., preceded its long-playing counterpart by a couple of weeks, which will be released October 27th. Paul McCartney's new LP, Pipes of Peace, will be released on that same day, October 27th, containing the song Say, Say, Say with Michael Jackson, which has been playing on radio stations all over the place for the past couple of weeks also. Hey, did you miss it, or were you out at Oakwood Lake this last Sunday for the Motel's Night Ranger concert? Well, Jam was there, and besides enjoying a great show, reporter Gary Bell spoke with Night Ranger members, Jack Blades and Brad Gillis, before they took to the stage.
We're here at Oakwood Lake with Night Ranger members Brad Gillis and Jack Blades. Jack, how long have you been with Night Ranger?
Well, how long have we've been? This is the beginning.
A couple years. How about you?
How about 2 years too? No, we started the band. I mean, we were together. Brad and I played together for 7 years, and we all got together with Night Ranger. This original band has always been Night Ranger. Actually, we were Ranger first. We played here in Stockton about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, something like that? At the Stockton Civic with Hagar, yeah.
Yeah, well, we changed the name from Ranger first to Night Ranger.
What was the reasoning behind changing it to Night Ranger?
Kind of a fun thing to do at the time. No. Actually, what happened was there was a country and western band down in, where was that? In Kentucky.
Was it?
Yeah, something like that down south somewhere that was named the Rangers. And we thought that, we thought that name was too close, and so what we did was we changed our name to a song that we had written on our record. We had the song already written, Night Ranger, so we changed it to Night Ranger. And things have gone from bad to worse. No.
All right, so you just got out of the studio, and your album should be out when?
This is a real mic.
This is a real mic. You can hold it too.
Hey, is this thing on? You just got out of the studio.
And it was a real good time for me.
How was it for you?
It was great.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
No, it was better for you.
Gotcha. We had a fun time.
Oh, thank you. What's the name of your album?
The new album's called Midnight Madness.
Midnight Madness.
Yeah, and it'll be out October 20th. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe the 7th.
We turned it in a week late, so maybe a week late.
Ah, okay.
Sure.
So how did you guys get involved in the show here in Manteca, California, of all places?
Money.
By mistake.
They told us, look, if we give you $20,000, will you come to Manteca?
And I said, well, as a deposit.
For 30, yeah. No, not really. We knew that this town really loved to rock and roll, and we really want.
No, I've heard that rap before.
Oh, well, what we want to do is really show the people out here that.
Actually, we're on our way to Tracy via Sonora, and
take a stop at the water slides. Got a little hot.
We just
today.
finished the album. We had nothing to do. We had a couple weeks off, and we got off the show. We said, why not come up here and slide during the day and rock at night? But we never made the slides.
What's it like on the road with Night Ranger?
Well, it's pretty fun. We haven't been on the road for another 4 or 5 months. We've been recording our second album in the studio, which just got finished and should be out October 20th. But we toured about 6 months all over the United States and Canada, and we went to Puerto Rico. It was real fun. We had a good time. It was the first tour with the band, a major tour with Night Ranger. And so it was fun for all of us to get out and do it and be well received. We were out with Kiss for a couple weeks. We were out with Heart for about a week, and then Sammy Hagar for 3-4 months.
What was it like touring with Ozzy Osbourne?
Well, that was fun. That was my first major tour in a bus across country, and we had a good time and went all over the place. We hit every state, Canada, Alaska, went to Japan, went to England. I had a good time.
Did you feel any pressure having to basically replace Randy Rhoads?
Yes. I just had so much expectations from the band, and I just had to get myself together and sit down and get the tunes together, which took me about 3 or 4 days, about 8 hours inside a hotel room in New York when it was snowing out, so the tour was canceled, and that's when Bernie Torme was with the band. He was on his way back to England, so as soon as they felt, and I felt, that I was ready, I was going to take his place.
Are you going to have any videos from this album?
Yeah, we'll do, start out of the shoot with 1, maybe 2, and then just take it from there, see how well it takes off to go in and do another one.
Where are you guys going from here? Where are you going to be playing?
We're not.
Oh, you're not?
We're kicking back. We're going to do the video, do 1 or 2 videos, and wait for the album to be released and start taking off. And then there's all kinds of tours that are available. So we're just going to wait and see what's happening for us, what areas of the country that are happening, and then take that tour.
Right on. Good job, Gary. Holly Beth Vincent of Holly and the Italians left that band for an offer from LA's Waitresses, who recently lost their lead vocalist, Patty Donahue. On her first sound check with the band, she left. Just left the band. And it's been reported that Patty Donahue is rejoining the band. I told you about Knockout splitting up the last show. But what you might not know is bassist Brad Lang is now jamming with Agent. Replacing John Miller on bass, Brad will be on stage along with John Fikert, Jeff Turner, David Ligorio, and Ralph Cesena. And coming up right now is an interview that Ann did with Ronnie James Dio up at the Sacramento Record Factory.
We're here in Citrus Heights in Sacramento at the Record Factory, where Warner Brothers recording artist Ronnie James Dio is making a personal appearance to promote his first album and his solo tour. All these fans have lined up for a good hour and a half just to get a glimpse and an autograph from their favorite star of Black Sabbath fame. And on-the-spot reporter Ann Mazanet talks with Ronnie James Dio.
Ronnie, what was the first major factor that made you want to leave Black Sabbath and pursue a solo career?
Well, personal differences, really, more than anything else. We started not to get along very well at the end. And when that happens, you really can't create anything that's good, really, whether it's music or whatever it may be. So it was time to push on, and I decided this time that instead of doing it for other people, as I always seem to do with Rainbow and For Sabbath, I've decided I'd just do it myself. And here I am.
When you joined Black Sabbath, did you feel any added pressure having to fill the shoes of Ozzy Osbourne and his vocals?
Well, I don't find it very difficult to fill shoes as someone who goes barefoot all of his life. No, I found no pressure at all, none whatsoever. I enjoyed the challenge.
Great. How's your first solo tour doing?
Well, it's been very short so far. This is only the third day. The two previous to this one were great. They're full up, and audiences were the usual crazy people that come to our shows. I expect it'll do very, very well. And as long as we get a chance to play it, it'll do well, because that's what we're here for, just to play. If we don't fill a hall, well, it's too bad. You play to 3 people, you play to 30,000, it doesn't matter the people you play for.
Great. And what we'd like to have you do is explain the symbol. That one? That one?
This one.
That one, yeah.
This one, yeah.
That one, all right.
Well, this is actually an Italian word I'm going to tell you, because I'm of Italian origin. I'm not directly from Italy, but it's called a Maloik. And a Maloik is 2 things, really. One is put evil your way, and one is to protect yourself from it. So it can be used in a lot of different variations. And it's kind of become my symbol, my thing. I guess you saw here, the camera didn't pick it up probably, but all the kids waving this to me all the time. I assume that they were warding the evil off me and not pointing it this way. This is Ronnie James Dio, and you're jammin' with Jam.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of the Junction Box here at Jam. We want you to get your paper and pens ready, because we got some interesting things here for you this week, trying to get people together with bands to form new music ideas here. First off, we've got some heavy metal people looking to put together a band. They need a bass player, a drummer, and a keyboard. If you can fit the bill, call Brian at 334-1145. That's 334-1145. Next, we have a drummer looking for a band. He has a professional attitude and equipment. His name is John, and you can reach him at 334-6036. That's 334-6036. Next up, we have a semi-pro bassist and keyboardist wanted for a top 40 show band. Must have their own equipment and be serious. You can call Michelle at 333-0181 or Craig at 333-0426. Last up, we have a female vocalist looking for a serious rock band. She has a Lita Ford, Pat Benatar vocal range, and is ready to work, so she says. Her name is Susan and can be reached at 477-7185. That's 477-7185. And that about wraps it up for the Junction Box this week. If you have anything you want to send to us, you can send it at P.O. Box 9400, Stockton, California, 95208. That's the Jam Junction Box, P.O. Box 9400, Stockton, California, 95208.
And here we are, Jam, out at Oakwood Lake Resort. We're having a good time. This is the end of our second show. We hope you'll be around for the third show. We haven't the foggiest idea what'll happen, but we'll have the latest in music news, the latest footage of anybody we can find, and Duncan will be with us too. Yeah. Duncan. And as you can see, the crowd's out here, and what will they be doing, friends? Jamming with Jam. You should do it too.
Thanks goes out to all those people who participated and helped out on tonight's Jam. A special thank you to Tower Records of Stockton for providing records for Jam's record review, and to the Music Box in Lodi for their much appreciated help in the support of Jam. Jam is produced and directed by Kent Russell with the Jam staff consisting of the members of Spot the Dog, Pat O'Shaughnessy, Duncan Atkinson, Ann Mosnet, Chris Watson, and Gary Bell. Send your letters to Jam, P.O. Box 9400, Stockton, California 95208. Jam with us next week, same jam time, same jammin' channel.